say you had a hit long ago?
Had a hit right back there. Let it drift out a little bit more. Okay, we're down here on the Dix River below Harrington Lake, and we're casting minnows out here and letting them drift with the current, trying to catch some brown trout. And over here to my right, what we've got is a leakage that comes out of this dam all the time. And there's a constant current here. And over here is the turbines are running. And there's the current that comes out of there. But the current doesn't come out of there unless the turbines are running. And they don't run up here all the time, so you can't always get in up here to fish. And we're not doing too good right now. We had a hit earlier when we first got here. I'm Dave Woodward. This is James Green. We're out here trying to angle a few of these brown trout. I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to move on down there, throw an anchor out, and cast out into the currents on both sides here. And the water isn't quite as clear as it has been here. I believe what's happened is we've had all this rain and the lakes got muddier and they've pulled all the clear water out. But last, say, I believe about a month here, we've had quite a bit of rain and the water's been up quite well, and they've been running these turbines a lot. And the fish have been pretty active up here for about the last couple of weeks. James and I, we fished out here quite a bit the last month. And I guess we usually do our limit. Caught, what was that? 5.5 pound, wasn't it, James?
Yeah.
Caught a 5.5 pounder.
5.5 and one 3.5.
Yeah, caught several 3.5 pound
last time.
But the main thing to do is try to stay in this current. Them trout seem to like the current. But like I say, the water's not as clear as it usually is. But when you do come up, I just had a hit there. But when you do come up here, try to be cautious of these turbines because they will shut them off on you. And if they do that, the water drops real fast and you can't hardly get out of here. And try to be careful going back across that riffle down there. When we come in, I had James up in the front of the boat to trim it down a little bit better, and so he could keep an eye up there. There's quite a bit of boulders down there when you come across there, and you can sure tear up a boat fast coming through there. Now these anchors all the time don't hold you in here. You kind of have to play with them a little bit if you're going to anchor up in this current, because that anchor will want to drag along with you.
Something jumped.
That shad or trout?
I think it was a shad.
When you put this minnow on here, try to use enough weight to where it'll stay close to the bottom and maybe bounce off of it every once in a while. But you get hung up a lot. And what I'm doing here is I'm letting it drift with the current. I'll let it go down, then I'll pull my line back and let a little more out. That way I get a little more distance out of my cast and it drifts more. But in this current, it'll drift so far, and then the current will bring the minnow back up, and the minnow will be sitting on top of the water. So it doesn't do you any good to let the line out too far. But you can usually feel it when it's on top of that water bouncing around down there. Well, I think what we're going to do here in a minute is change over to a super rooster tail. It's got an arm on it and a spinner. James has got a spoon on here right now. That should get their attention a little bit better.
Should show up a lot better in this muddy water.
Now this water, we need something to get their attention. It's best to get up here when they first turn these turbines on, if you can catch when they're doing it, because they seem to want to go where the fresh water is and the current coming in. It brings in that feed for them. But the bad thing up here is you just never know when they're going to run these turbines up here. Now down at Wolf Creek, they've got a phone number you can call, and it gives you a recording, and they'll tell you when they're going to run their turbines. There's one a minnow by there.
Yeah. I think the reason the trout are coming up in here close to this dam is because there's shad and small bait fish coming out of the bottom of those turbines. They come up in here to feed on them.
Yeah, them turbines will knock them a little unconscious and cut them up and give the fish something to feed on. These bite a little bit like crappie, don't they, James? They just tap at it.
Yeah, they don't take it and run with it much.
Yeah. They don't take it and run with it. They'll just hit at it like a crappie. But after you've hooked it, it sure don't seem like a crappie. Well, these brown trout, I believe they fight a little bit better than them rainbow. All we need to do is catch a fish now.
Well, we've never come here without catching fish. So we've never came here without catching fish.
And we always catch fish.
But I don't believe we've ever fished here when it was this muddy either.
I think what we're going to have to do here is drift down a little bit. Like they've run these turbines so much, I think these trout have just come up here and seen what was up here and just went right back down again. And there's a couple of deep pools down there. We might be able to get a few out of there. We don't seem to be having too much luck here. And it's hard to, I'm casting that super rooster tail here, and it doesn't work too well in this current, and the current isn't as bad down there where the pools are.
I think drifting a minnow downstream is kind of be presenting your bait more natural anyway, since a lot of those bait fish coming out of the turbines and stuff that are cut up, they drift down with the current. And whenever you drift that minnow down with the current, it kind of presents the bait a little more natural. Here he is. You gonna get the net, Dave? I don't know if he's all that big or not. They can fight. I think they fight better than a largemouth. He's just a small one.
Let's see if we can get him in here.
Yeah, he's a small one.
Yeah, we would like to net all these. Quite a few of them will get off. Got him in.
Yeah, he's not very big.
It's about the average size of them up here, isn't it?
Well, I think most of them are a little bigger. This is kind of one of the small ones. They can sure put up a fight, even on this size. Watch, these limbs are kind of low.
Wanna get the net up here, James? I think I've hung him.
You got it, Tim?
Yeah, he's a smaller one. Look how that hook's went clean in him and come right back out. Yeah. He wasn't getting off. These things do have teeth in there too. A lot of people don't realize that. This is a smaller one, but it's got littler teeth in it. Some on its tongue there too. We've moved on down here. The water seems to be a little clearer down here, and it's pooled a little bit. You'll get a lot of, you see like these eddies down here in the water where the current is. It'll get in there, and sometimes that'll give you a false reading here when you think you've got a hit, and what it is, it's got caught in that current down there. But after a little bit, you'll figure it out that it's the current. What we've done was we sit up there and anchored up. We didn't do any good up there. So now we're drifting and letting the minnow drift with the boat in the current. And we'll go all the way down to the riffle. We don't want to go across that riffle because it is hazardous going back and forth across it. So we try not to go across it unless we have to, like on the way out and the way in. And we'll drift down and we'll start the boat back up. And we'll go back and we'll just keep going down, up and down. And we've picked up about a fish each trip down. You can usually average 1 or 2 fish a trip down. And that's pretty good if you can do that.
Good one. Really good. Oh, there you go.
Oh, we're going on the boat. He's healthy, look, man.
Yeah.
Got him on there, drifting.
Fish on.
Yeah, it is.
We need the net. This is about the average size we'll catch up here. It's not a bad one.
Alright. Yeah, let's take it out from under. Most of the fish we've been catching today are probably about 12 or 13 inches, and that's usually about the smallest that we catch. We catch a lot of them about 19 and 20 inches, and then there's the bigger ones on about 4 pound to maybe 6 pound. But today we haven't been able to catch any of the big ones yet.